Hi, Mr. Bernie.
How's it going?
It's going.
How do you guys feel about this weather here
I love it. I love the rain.
compared to where you were at?
It never rained. It was dry. It needed rain.
Where were you?
California.
Well,
So
we
you-
were also in Washington. Washington, it was dry too. Everything was on fire.
I love
around
the
us.
rain as long as I don't have to work a lot in it.
It was dry in Washington?
There were big fires everywhere.
Oh.
We left the
that'll
fires
do it.
in Colorado. We left the fires in California. We left fires in Washington. And then we came here and there were fires here.
I think we have our earth symbol is fire.
So you two are living and traveling full-time in an RV. What made you want to do this?
She's a gypsy.
I have a gypsy soul, and I spent my younger years raising kids and thought it was time. And we took care of an older woman, and she lived in an RV for 30 years, and she said it was a great life. And this one has MS and wasn't walking for 2 years, and it was just time to go live life and enjoy life, because you can sit at home and exist, or you can get out there and you can live it. And that was our choice.
The old
So-
broad would say that life was too short to stay in one place.
Sweet. So how long have you been doing this?
And July 5th will be 4 years.
How long do you think you want to keep doing this?
We'll probably always adventure. We might eventually, maybe in a couple years, find a piece of land and settle down to have a home base. But I think then we'll just get something smaller, and we'll still go out and volunteer and do some things.
Our RV is just too big to drive around in constantly. It doesn't fit everywhere we want to go.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah,
So you're kind of
definitely.
limited in some places, but we're going to do it for as long as we can. I mean, we try not to make plans in our life, because every time you make a plan, it gets failed and then you get let down.
Expectations.
So we just kind of go with the flow. I mean, of course, we say, oh, this day we're going to leave or whatever, but we also know that if we can't do it on that day, then the next day is okay too. You can't be uptight. You have to be able to roll with it.
Very cool. So from the time that you decided to hit the road, how long did it take you to make the transition to going full-time in an RV?
3 months.
Yeah.
3 months.
We sold everything we had.
Sold everything we owned out of storage. We put everything in storage buildings, and we had
Opened up the doors and had garage sales.
garage sales every day until we sold everything, and until I just sold the whole building finally at the end. And then we went and bought our RV, and that was that.
So you wanted a motorhome from the jump? You pretty
Yeah.
much decided
We
to
wanted
motorhome?
one. We wanted a motorhome because that way she could drive it and she could try to make me make lunch naked.
That was the plan.
That was the truth of that matter. And that way we could all ride in the same place without being in a truck, because we didn't have a truck. We would have had to go buy a truck too. So this way it was easier. And
That was the plan.
we bought the thing that the mechanic welded onto the front of the car for it to be towed, and bought a $1,000 tow thing off of Craigslist for $300, and there we go.
And you tow your vehicle behind
Yes.
a tow vehicle.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have a Honda Element, and we tow it behind.
The carrot.
Is that pretty easy to do for you?
Oh yeah, it's not hard to hook up. The hookups are, I mean, drop in place, slide a pin, drop in place, slide a pin. It's not, anybody can do it. You know, I mean, probably the only, even a person that didn't have hands, if they had nubs, they could do it.
Okay. So where have you guys been so far?
We've been to,
Oklahoma.
we've been in Oklahoma and Colorado,
New Mexico.
New Mexico,
Arizona. Utah. Nevada. California.
Washington, and Oregon.
Wow. So how do you support yourselves along the way?
We both are disabled. She has MS and I don't even know
A
anymore.
buffet.
I have a buffet of problems besides I have cancer spots in my lungs and stuff. So we're both on disability. We don't make much on disability, but we live within our means. We didn't get the RV we exactly wanted because the payment was $200 higher than what we really thought we could afford. So we got the one we got. And we're happy as pigs in punch with it because we made it what we want it to be.
So you mentioned some health problems. So you both have health challenges. And what are some of them, and how do you manage them on the road? I mean, you're away from regular doctors, I assume, so what are some of your health issues and how do you manage that?
Well, I have MS, and while we've been on the road, it's been a little bit of a challenge. The mobility part has been really tough at times, and I had a big flare up on my brainstem where I lost all capabilities. So that was really hard because Ronnie didn't have any family for support. But we had friends that we had made in our park. You know, you become community in a park. And so she had the rangers there with her and parkades and things like that. And then she got sick the next year and had to go through cancer surgery, and
We picked the hospital where
All
we're
kinds of
at.
things.
I mean, we got very fortunate because we were in the Bay Area, and I got picked up by Stanford. And because I'm low income, they also pay for my medical through Stanford, what my Medicare doesn't pay. So I've had cancer surgery, I've had femoral bypass surgery since we've been on the road,
and complications.
and infection and complications, and you just roll with it. I mean, they said, we're not let you out of the hospital unless you go to a rehab because we need a nurse to come see you, unless you stay in the area. Well, so we found a place in the area so that a nurse could come to my house. You do what you got to do. You think about it. Sometimes it can be a little complicated, but you know, that makes you appreciate the days when it goes smooth.
So maybe the difference would be if you were stationary somewhere, you would have medical there, but you wouldn't be experiencing life the way that
Right.
you want to.
Right.
Yeah, plus our doctors communicate with us by email,
And phone.
by phone, even by Skype. And we have an app that we use, you know, for Stanford. So we stay in communication that way no matter where we are. And they communicate with other doctors if we need to go see somebody. for
Like
something
to call in a
acute.
prescription. Like I called her before I went to the hospital last week with that abscess, and she said definitely, you know, go. And she called and she emailed to check up on me to see if I went. I've needed some prescriptions. I can email her, and she gets them. We have the pharmacy send us prescriptions in the mail of wherever we are. It's not that hard.
And suddenly I feel like my stub toe isn't going to keep me down any longer. You know, it's like, yeah, but you really can get out there and still live your life.
Yeah.
You know, you have to.
Being out here makes you feel healthy, makes you feel happy. Sitting at home wallowing in it makes you feel sick, and you don't live. You exist. And I want to live, and I want to touch people, and I want people to remember me and remember that I was kind and nice and that I did nice things for people.
Well, when we were at home, I fell all the time. I got hurt all the time at home. And when I'm not at home and we're out on the road, I fell. I got hurt when I fall there too. But I fall in the redwoods, or I can go fall on my driveway, or I can go fall on a wonderful trail leading down to a beach or through the forest.
Fall
you
on
know.
some placer gold or something.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna fall wherever. It doesn't matter. So I might as well fall somewhere that's pretty and I'm seeing something different and having an adventure.
Wow, that's amazing. So one of the things that I really admire about you two is your eagerness to volunteer and help others. Now, tell me about some of the volunteer work you've been doing since you've been traveling.
We started at China Camp State Park in California.
We were camp hosts. We took care of the campground and checked people in, checked people out, sold firewood. And we were the only camp host there. And there were supposed to be two. We were the only one. It was a very busy park. It was 17 miles south of San Francisco. Or north. North of San Francisco.
It's in Marin County.
So a lot of people. It was heavily populated by foreigners. People from out of other countries would come and camp there, and we got to see so much culture, and it was so amazing. We have people that we've made friends with that don't even speak English, that we send a text and it translates back and forth so that we can communicate still. Explaining to people about the raccoons at different campgrounds has been pretty funny.
With different language
With
barriers.
different language barriers.
We volunteered at China Camp, then we went to Butno and Pescadero, which is right on the coast in California, but it's a redwood park.
It was
And then
beautiful.
Half Moon Bay. And
It's on
back
the
and
beach.
forth all over the place in California, right in the Bay Area. And then we went to Washington. We were there for a bit, but we didn't do volunteer work there. And then we came to Oregon and started volunteering, but now we're going to Arizona and then back to Washington.
We're going to Arizona at a county park to volunteer at, and then we're going to go back to Washington and volunteer at Mount Rainier, a national park. So by the end of next season, we'll have done state, county, and national parks all in one season.
Very nice, and that helps to offset some of the cost by at least having
A place to sit.
A place to
Yeah,
be.
because we bought within our means, and so our rig will be paid for in the next few months, and then that money is just money that we have that just puts us a little up. Maybe
Well,
we can buy a steak instead of a fake piece of meat. I don't know,
I like the fake meat better.
Yeah.
I know it's okay, but it helps life. But at the same time, what I found, Bernie, if you really want something, and you really want it in here, and you say it, it will come. It will come. If it's meant for you to have it, and it's meant to be, it's gonna be. Because we do that all the time. We'll say, I'd like to have a dust mop to dust mop my front porch. And we'll go, and next thing you know, there's a damn dust mop. There's a dust mop by the dumpster.
Isn't that amazing how that happens?
It's how life happens,
Yeah, it's like being in the stream of that energy.
Yeah,
you desire
it feels good.
And if you stay true, it comes to you.
That's
doesn't it?
right.
Yep.
I feel like if you stay pure heart, then then things are going to come to attract to you.
Well, when you're out volunteering and you're doing that from a kind point, you're attracting that same back to you. You're always gonna have some jerks, no matter where you are. But as a
Not
whole,
many.
when people are out camping, they're usually pretty happy to be there, and you get to be an extra in their little tiny vacation or something, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I like about it too, is that you're around people having fun, so it puts you
In a fun
different
situation.
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
There's very
definitely.
few people that come to be mean or crappy or crabby, Most people come to have fun with their families because large family vacations are kind of wayside now because of the expense. Camping makes it easy, and camping is great for families because some of these children have never even seen a tree other than one in their yard. And then they're afraid of lizards and butterflies, and those are the things you need to experience.
Yeah, it brings
And
us back in touch with nature.
Yeah, we love nature and we love people. That's why we volunteer. Having a place to put our rig is a third. It's like, yeah, you know what? That's very nice, but we could go park our rig somewhere and pay for it and not volunteer. We could do that, but we both like the interaction with other people, and people are happy.
I like playing with the kids.
It's fun to play. We get to meet awesome people like y'all.
Well, thank you. So, do you have any tips or advice for others that want to do similar things to what you're doing?
Number one, don't make plans.
Number two, buy the second RV that you would have bought instead of the first one. Because most
Buy
people
your
will
second RV first.
buy your second RV first. That way you just save yourself the time and the expense and the wish.
Yeah.
If you're not a people person, don't do it.
Don't camp host,
Maintenance host. There's places for people that don't really want other people, but don't camp host.
Boondocking somewhere.
Yeah,
BLM.
because it's very important to have a camaraderie with the people that you work with, because most of the time as a camp host you're the one that's here at night and they're not, and so you got to know that other people in that park have your back, that you can pick up the phone. It's so
Well, you make a community everywhere you go. That's one of the downsides and the pluses all at the same time. Is we get to meet wonderful people, and you become wonderful friends with them, and then you pack up and you move. But like I said to my friend the other day, I said, I'm going to go see some of the seeds that are scattered around, and maybe one day I'll put them all back together, but I doubt it. But it's like we're like Johnny Appleseed with our friends.
Yeah, it's kind of neat hearing about other people. Like you might read online somewhere on their site that they're up here doing this, and
Right.
you kind of stay in touch that way. And maybe paths cross again too.
I believe that that there's a reason that a lot of us that like each other and connect are pulled together, because our spirits have been together in the past, and we find that comfort. And so yeah, I believe that, because you make that effort. If it's something you really want, you make effort for it, you know? It doesn't matter what it is. We all know if somebody you don't want to talk to, you don't answer the phone, they call you, oh, I was busy. Well, you know, you looked at it and you just didn't want to answer the phone. You didn't put effort in it. But if it's something you want, you'll put that effort in it. And it takes little effort for this.
It has to be consistent and tenacious. You have to drive yourself.
Yes, you have to be a
get what you want.
self-motivator for sure.
Definitely.
Because you're not going to have people watching over you all the time. And if you don't want to see beauty and you don't like animals, then it's probably not a job for you. But if you love the beauty of the world, because you're going to see, I mean, we're going to the desert. There's not going to be trees. I've never really lived in the desert, so I'm kind of anxious, but at the same time I'm very excited because I've never lived in the desert. I will be able to be 100 years old telling the great-grandkids, I lived in the desert, I lived in the redwoods, I lived in, I lived in the mountains.
Yeah, they complain they're hot. I was in 140
That's right.
degrees.
I walked barefoot through 6 foot of snow. And
In the valley in California, we almost fried to a crisp when we walked outside for 2 seconds.
yes, and then we
True
went to the
story.
mountains and almost got stuck in the ice off the side of the mountain.
True
story. And you're gonna have problems, but you fix it. You're gonna have problems if you stay at home and
Lots
sit
of
on your butt in the
problems.
house too.
That's for
Your
sure.
TV might blow up and you'd have to buy a new one. You know, I mean, it just.
Well, is there anything else you want to share before we close?
When I said don't make plans, what I was saying, everybody will say, oh, you know, I want to do that when me and my husband retire, or I want to do that when me and my wife retire. Not everybody gets to retire. You know, things happen, your children leave, life happens. Life is too short to make plans all the time.
You can't live for each day to its fullest if you're making plans for 5 years down the way. You know, I mean, what you could do 5 years, you could do today. If you really wanted to, if you put effort into it.
Definitely. Well,
Good.
thanks for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for asking.
You're welcome.